Abraham Lincoln once confided a secret so sensitive it could have derailed his entire legacy. His mother was born outside wedlock, and her origins were shrouded in scandal. For 150 years, historians debated whether he was right or protecting something deeper. Only when DNA evidence surfaced did the truth emerge, exposing a rare genetic marker that rewrote his family history and left a pressing question still unanswered. So how did this revelation change everything we thought we knew about the man behind the legend? William Herndon spent 17 years as Abraham Lincoln's law partner, sharing long hours in the office and on the road. Around 1850, during a quiet moment away from public eyes, Lincoln confided a secret that would haunt him for the rest of his life. He told Herndon, "Billy, I'll tell you something, but keep it a secret while I live. My mother was a bastard." Lincoln's words carried a weight that few today can fully grasp. In the America of his youth, being born outside of marriage was more than a private shame. It was a stain that could ruin reputations and end political ambitions. Illegitimate children were often denied legal rights and social standing. In some states, mothers faced public humiliation or even corporal punishment. The law labeled such children as filios nullius, nobody's child, with no inheritance rights and few protections. For a man with presidential ambitions, such a legacy was dangerous. Lincoln went further, telling Herndon that his mother, Nancy Hanks, was the daughter of a nobleman so-called of Virginia. He described his grandmother as poor and easily deceived, taken advantage of by a man with power. Yet Lincoln did not speak of this ancestry with bitterness. He believed his mother's side gave him his intellect and drive. "All that I am or ever hope to be, I get from my mother, God bless her." He kept this knowledge locked away, sharing it only once, and only with the man he trusted most. In a time when a whisper of scandal could destroy a public figure, Lincoln's confession was an act of quiet courage and deep vulnerability. The truth about his mother's birth was more than a family secret. It was a threat to everything he hoped to achieve. For decades, no document or record could confirm or deny what Lincoln told Herndon. The question hung over his legacy, waiting for evidence that might never come. After Lincoln's confession surfaced in Herndon's 1889 biography, the historical community fractured. Two rival camps formed, each convinced it held the key to Nancy Hanks's true origins. On one side stood the defenders of the illegitimacy theory. They pointed to Mercer County court records from November 1789, where Lucy Hanks was indicted for fornication, a charge leveled only when an unmarried woman gave birth. That indictment, followed by Lucy's marriage to Henry Sparrow in April 1790, created a timeline that seemed to confirm Nancy's birth outside of wedlock. For these scholars, the public record matched Lincoln's secret. His mother was indeed illegitimate, and the shadow of scandal had trailed the family from Kentucky's earliest days. The opposition gathered around a different story. Proponents of the Shipley theory insisted that Lucy Hanks was actually Lucy Shipley, a woman who had married James Hanks before his death. In their view, Nancy was born to a legitimate couple, and the whispers of bastardy were the product of unreliable memories and local gossip. They argued that Herndon's account was tainted by bias and the passage of decades, casting doubt on the reliability of his story. Genealogical links between the Hanks and Shipley families, they claimed, supported a lawful union and a daughter born within wedlock. The debate reached a new level of intensity in 1941 when Lincoln biographer Lewis Warren published his own findings. Warren dismissed the illegitimacy account as another of the Herndon myths, arguing that documentary evidence favored the Shipley connection. He urged historians to move past what he saw as sensationalism and accept the Shipley lineage as fact. Yet the evidence remained circumstantial, and neither side could deliver a final blow. For decades, the question lingered: was Nancy Hanks the illegitimate child Lincoln described, or the product of a legitimate marriage lost to time? Each new piece of evidence seemed to deepen the divide. Without conclusive proof, the mystery endured, fueling speculation, family legends, and a growing need for answers that documentary records alone could not provide. In October 2015, a breakthrough in genetic genealogy offered a new way to settle the question of Nancy Hanks Lincoln's origins. Suzanne Hallstrom, a genealogist with a background in DNA research, led a study designed to answer what documents and oral history could not. The team turned to mitochondrial DNA, or mtDNA, a form of genetic material passed exclusively from mother to child, unchanged through generations. Unlike the DNA found in most of our cells, mtDNA does not recombine with a father's genes. This makes it a powerful tool for tracing a direct maternal line stretching back hundreds or even thousands of years. The challenge was finding living people who carried the same maternal DNA as Nancy Hanks. Abraham Lincoln's line ended without daughters, but his mother's family was much larger. Hallstrom's team combed through genealogical records, focusing on the female descendants of Nancy's grandmother, Anne Lee Hanks. They identified several living women whose maternal lines reached back to Anne Lee through different daughters, some through Lucy Hanks, others through Nancy Hanks Hall and Mary Hanks' friend. These relatives became known as Group A. To test the competing Shipley theory, the researchers also located women descended in a direct female line from the Shipley family. If Lucy Hanks had actually been Lucy Shipley, these descendants, called Group B, would share the same mtDNA as Group A. If not, their DNA would tell a different story. Each participant provided a DNA sample, usually with a simple cheek swab. The samples were sequenced in a lab, searching for matches and differences across the maternal lines. The team compared the results from Group A and Group B, looking for a genetic signature that could confirm or rule out the old family stories. With the samples in hand and the lab work underway, the study was set to deliver the first scientific answer to a question that had haunted American history for more than a century. Sequencing results arrived with a clarity that no document or family story could match. Every woman in Group A descended in an unbroken female line from the Hanks family, carried the same mitochondrial DNA. Their code belonged to haplogroup X1c, a marker almost never found in Europe. When the samples from the Shipley descendants, Group B, were sequenced, there was no match. The Shipley theory was ruled out by the evidence in their cells. Haplogroup X itself is already rare, present in just about 2% of Europeans. But the X1c branch is far scarcer, with its roots traced mainly to North Africa, the Horn of Africa, and the Near East. Only a handful of carriers have ever been identified in Europe, scattered across Italy, Ireland, and Norway. Yet here it was, unmistakable, running through the maternal line of Abraham Lincoln. The result left no room for doubt. Lincoln's mother, Nancy Hanks, was the illegitimate daughter of Lucy Hanks, and Lucy herself was the daughter of Joseph Hanks and Anne Lee. Every line of documentary evidence, court indictments, marriage records, and Lincoln's own confession now stood reinforced by genetic proof. But the DNA also drew a line in the sand. Mitochondrial DNA can reach back through mothers and grandmothers, but it cannot reveal the name of a father. The identity of Lincoln's grandfather, the well-bred Virginia planter who changed the family's fate, remains sealed by time. The maternal code answered the question that haunted historians for generations, but it left the deepest secret untouched. Lincoln's legacy now carries an added layer, a rare genetic signature, a story confirmed, and a mystery that science, for all its power, cannot resolve. Today, Lincoln's rare maternal DNA links him to a global story, reminding us that American identity is far more complex than myth allows. As science rewrites old assumptions, history's secrets become part of our present. Sometimes, the truth we inherit is stranger and richer than anything we imagine. Share your thoughts below.